Go.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to the world out there from South Africa. As the night dims tonight, it's my time to share my story and where I come from and why I've got such a passion for being a financial coach and advisor currently in my life. Coming from a background where I've studied law, I've managed from a very early age. I've had it just absolutely fantastic my whole life. I've just moved from one place to another without ever really have to apply for jobs. It found me. But today is really about you understanding what's my passion and really what's my story. So if you could imagine this little blonde girl being very expressive and very imaginative in a business where old ladies go for their hairdressing every morning at 5. My grandmother used to open a hair salon, and it was my biggest treat to go and visit the business on a regular basis. Whether I had to just pack the rollers at the different colors together, or whether I had to entertain the old ladies underneath the hair dryers, I became very acquainted and in touch with the elders of our community. And it was very hard for me to see that some of the people were really struggling and they were poverty. As a young little one, it was that year, and because 6 is such a fundamental year in your behavioral development in neuroscience, I found that is maybe where my golden streak came from, becoming in the financial environment as a coach and advisor, because that's not something that happens naturally. But I just couldn't face the old ladies being, stuck in poverty. And it was really one evening when my grandmother had to take me home, and it was pouring with rain, and I had to see old people standing in a queue. In South Africa, we used those little bank books, which like had to go and collect their pension. I was absolutely devastated. And all my grandmother said to me that evening was, they haven't saved enough for the retirement. Now they need to ask for money. Now, where I grew up, I was not in that position where I ever asked for money until today. It's difficult for me to ask even my parents for assistance. So if there's a battle, I will go and find something to do to generate income, whether I had to do weekend works or whatever the case may be, just not to ask. So a fundamental behavior was established in me, but yet I didn't know how am I going to fix the world, because for me, I'm a fixer. I have to fix stuff. And on my journey growing up, I faced a lot of trauma with regards to a grandmother that was an entrepreneur, sold a business to family, totally undervalued the business, and she couldn't look after herself. The person that helped the others in poverty understood that she actually had to save for retirement, thought her business was going to be this golden nest egg. And yet it wasn't that. This beautiful, stunning, dynamic woman fell into a place where she was now also one of the dependents of her children, which caused her to really battle when she had to fight against cancer at her elder age, and she didn't survive. For me, as a grandchild, and seeing that, it was horrific. And not being able to look after yourself means you don't have medical aid, which means that you have to go to government facilities. So another aggravation or another step towards my passion where I am today is I wanted to find the solution. How do we solve this for people that was so successful in their business and yet they cannot live from the fruit of their businesses? I've seen what divorce did in a family as such as myself, where a single mother had to raise us, 2 kids, and try to provide, and run into financial debt because she just had to give us everything that she thought we needed, to the point where she really became under pressure with managing her budget and her finances. And as my journey prolonged, and I came accustomed to people that came to speak with us as legal interns about how does the legislation impact on the insurance industry, I found my path and my door to open. And to face yet another journey where I landed in a big organization and speaking and coaching and advising at old age, entering into retirement clients in a village where there's a lot of retirement villages. So it felt like my feet was just directed the whole time towards people that's entering into retirement. And the frustration was seeing that people actually booked their places in this facilities, and yet they didn't have enough to be able to stay there. So they paid the deposits. It was time to get their money out of their long earned and saving plans, but yet they didn't have enough. And since then, it really sparked in me to how can I develop this? It's not something that's isolated to my family only. It was something that is worldwide epidemic today, where people can't see that they're going to retire one day. I've made it really my passion, and I believe it's my calling. Why I'm here on earth is to change the way that people find their financial freedom, help people to talk about it early, figure out the way to manage it easy, and in that, just get people to be able to retire with dignity. So I grew quite quickly, and I was very ambitious in my role, became a mother, got married first, but I grew exceptionally fast in the big corporate world, where corporate politics became my master, where I developed a lot of skills in neuroscience, which I'm so grateful for that I developed, because I needed to manage people that were older than me, and it was very difficult taking them through change the whole time. And I didn't want to be an autocratic leader. I wanted to influence people, although I had to retrench them sometimes. So even I got under the golden handshake approach, where it was just too difficult to execute strategy without having the passion and taking the people on a journey, even though you had to give very hard news. And I had to make a decision to get out of the corporate politics and start something that I'm really passionate about. And that is really where my business were born. Out of a very tough situation, very ambitious, got all the accolades, big bonuses, could define strategy of a big company. I had to step out of it and make peace with it and start all over again. And what a magic time it was. To discover oneself again after a really traumatic experience, and finding the hope, work hard and try to speak the language that you really want to teach people about getting out of poverty and not fearing financial freedom and the planning thereof. So in a nutshell, that is my story. I grew up just amongst people that faced retirement, couldn't get there. I saw what divorced it to couples and how they could not budget and ruin a lot of plans in their future. I have seen how entrepreneurs build businesses, and it was devastating to see that they couldn't look after themselves when their fruit needed to start feeding themselves after the harvest. So, in a nutshell, if I really reflect, all of us have got a journey we need to walk, and sometimes you get pressed very hard to develop those skills, to get pushed into the right direction. So what is it that I really do, and what do I offer? I have developed, not offered, but we offer and we have developed a very unique 5-step coaching methodology that's unique in the financial planning industry in the world. So being a certified financial planner as well, coming from a legal background, that doesn't give you anything. If you don't know how to work with people and what's really the problem out there and what do you want to fix, what is it that you want to fix for other people, what is the legacy I want to leave, it's very difficult to shape a new business and start it. So this methodology is all based on the neuroscience and behavioral studies that I had to do because I was under pressure getting all the people to change quickly in the organization. So thank you for that skill that I had to learn. The coaching is aimed at teaching people the simple basics of how to protect themselves against anything that could happen in life to get back on their financial feet, almost like a trampoline. If I look at myself in the mirror, I look like a trampoline to myself, because I want every client that sees me and see a reflection of themselves in me that they've got that trampoline if something would happen, but also how to work with their money. In today's time, everybody's got their own emotion with their money, their love, their dislikes, their likes, and how they work with it. But it lies in that simple strategy of how do I work with my money cleverly to reach all my goals and my ambitions. So this coaching is quite nice because it allows a person to explore themselves, be in charge of the session, and actually to be enabled after their coaching to give an instruction to the financial coach and advisor of what do they want them to do. Instead of a financial industry currently that's selling their products to clients, which they don't.
Seems that we lost our host for a couple of minutes due to connectivity. But I was thinking that there is an old quote by Warren Buffett, and I'm sure some of our listeners already heard it, but I still want to mention it. He said that someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a
Yeah, I'm back.
tree long
I'm back.
time ago. Over to you.
I'm back.
Yeah, so it is to me, from what I can see, when I don't know if you had that feeling ever, when you feel that you are in a sinking boat and you are putting all your energy into patching the holes and fixing the boat uh, before you sink totally before you reach the shore. So I think in a very simple way, it's best to trade your existing struggles for solid results, imagining that planning and numbers are two very different worlds and you have to marry them. I'm
You're
not
right.
quite sure if you are back, but please,
I'm
over to
back.
you.
So you're right, Marina. If you think about it, a lot of us have got a lot of dreams and goals that we want to live. And unfortunately, everything that we do, Marina, touches on money, whether we want to know it or not. So my faith is extremely strong, I believe. We all have to have faith in something. But at the end of the day, even if you are married, if there's a financial difficult situation or period of your life, it becomes very difficult to keep that relationships going. And that is why I believe that with the neuroscience backdrop and what I'm using for the philosophy of the coaching helps another. Are you there?
Yes, we are here listening to you.
So I think it's all about the how, and it's for me it's the most awesome thing to see every single person that starts off with the coaching is that they have got this apprehension and they don't want to go. How do we do that to unlock it? And as they go through the coaching, which we use big whiteboards, if we're not in our office, or if we're in our offices, we've got white walls that people actually write on. And we use different colors that link to different kinds of planning. But each individual is different. And in the beginning, when they don't want to engage, soon it's a few seconds. You just see how they relax and they actually go through the whole process and they discover themselves. So I just want to quickly elaborate on our coaching. So the coaching is all about the client, the person in front. So the coach would ask questions around place yourself on the board, for instance. And I don't know for the listeners if they've ever done a real reflection of where they are currently in their lives and where they want to go. A lot of us have got, our New Year's resolutions, but we don't necessarily go down to the nitty gritty of it. And this allows for the client to relax and do exactly that. So we take the client to put themselves on the board and reflect on who's dependent on them and who they are dependent on. And what is that monetary value? In our busy lives today, we do not take time to do this. Yet our biggest fear of all our clients, whether they are rich, having a lot of capital under management currently in the investment portfolios, or whether it's a start-upper, a new entrepreneur, a person's entering the workplace, the biggest fear they've got is to not be independent, to not be able to provide for themselves. To not be successful means I cannot provide for my family. Yet nobody go and sit down and they reflect on this and see what the impact on one another is. So it reflects on that helps them with budgeting, which a lot of people in the world battle with and struggle with, because it's difficult to see what you're actually spending. More people are spending more money than what they're actually earning. So it allows in a safe environment to do that while they're discovering what is it that the dependents need if they're no longer here, or if they become disabled, or if they become retrenched, which is a big theme currently in South Africa. A lot of people are being retrenched, but it's not just with us, it's also in Canada, it's a lot of places. So it places a person in a different frame of mind. And when we finish with that, when they actually for the first time know how much and why do I have to have those millions of life cover or disability or whatever the case may be, they understand that number up to the T and they can give an instruction on that. We move into a very nice space, which is not always with a green pen, which allows a client to go and figure out what is my goals and my dreams. And here we do not limit them to 3 or 5. We actually say you have to explore. I mean, the board is as big as what you want it to be. And what is the unique thing about this? It's very easy to write down, I want to travel. It's very easy to say, I want to buy a house. But because of the neuroscience, we take them 3 levels. We take them through what is it that you want to do. So if I want to travel, I want to go to Bangkok. If I want to go to Bangkok, when do I want to go there? And what is it going to cost me to go on that holiday? Because it's been proven in neuro that if you can think 3 layers of anything that you're trying to achieve, you will just easily achieve it because your brain automates and start processing it. So without the clients knowing, they're already starting to put small or big goals and dreams down that they want to achieve, which is fantastic at the end, because for the first time they're seeing themselves what is their current situation, but also for the first time they can actually see what is the tangibility and what's it going to cost them to realize their dreams and start planning towards that. What do I need to do? What do I need to cut to get to those kind of amounts to travel or to build a house or just to pay for my kids' education? The last portion of our coaching goes into the red zone, which we give them and then a red pen to work with. And that is all about what is your risks and your fears. And I've really started my story tonight about what is the risks and fears that I've seen out there in my 40 years of being a human being. And if we reflect on the fears and on the risks that they have in their life currently, it's funny how the clients have got at ease when they come and sit down and they're able to start focusing on what they want to address immediately. And I think for me, in my whole approach in my business, my vision is to take the fear out of all financial planning. And the fun in it is when you get the couples to sit down and for the first time in life, even if they've been married for 30 years, they have a discussion where they actually share with one another what they wanted to do and what they are fearing. So for me, it's much more than just financial planning. And I think I enjoy it so much because for the first time, I'm getting to the crux of why people land up at 65, ready to retire, and yet they have never reviewed, they've never reflected on what it is that they need to have to retire. So, Marina, I hope I've made sense of my story with all the interruptions on the line. But that's really the essence of what my passion is. You know, I just want to take poverty away from retirement. I don't want to have moms that never work because they dedicated their lives to kids and a father pass away and leave them destituted. I want kids to be able to go and study no matter what. You know, if parents are no longer there, they need to have the ability to go and progress and teach themselves and become productive, earnable individuals out there. So what I really want to offer is for our listeners, if they want to engage and have more information on this, really to go onto our website, which is www.linkfinity.co.za, to just get more detail on the coaching methodology and how we apply it. Also for employers in their workplace, because people don't take time to do financial planning or to revise their will or to change beneficiaries when they get divorced. So that's traumatic, especially when you pass away and you've remarried again and everything goes to the ex. It causes havoc. But just offering simple solutions to employees, because even if you just do budgeting with your employees, you help them to become more productive. They stop stressing about spending too much and don't have money until the end of the month. And your business will thrive by having that methodology in your business. But also the Facebook, we are busy on Facebook on our normal page, and also retrenchment, retirement, resignation, because I believe a lot of people find a lot of trauma in those three events and they make very, very bad decisions with the money that they've built up in their pension funds. So that is really what we're offering, and that is really what my life is about. And this is how this whole business and coaching methodology was born.
Wow. Oh, there is so much to absorb, so much information. And I've been to South Africa a couple of times, and I understand that lately the local currency dropped dramatically, and that created a lot of uncertainty for the local communities within South Africa. And I also know that right now South Africa is a hot destination, not only for the tourism industry, but also for manufacturing and people who want to invest in South Africa, and people who cannot trade in China anymore, and they could move their base in South Africa. And I was wondering, what will be the key message for today, apart from the fact that you said it very clear, wealth is a state of mind. You really have to make sure you plan before you take action, because taking action without thinking is as bad as thinking without taking action, and you are offering that balance for our listeners, and they will contact you, and hopefully you'll be back and you'll be able to connect with our listeners and bring over success cases and show how basically how your blueprint works. I think what I want to ask is
Yes.
what is your key message for today?
My key message, Marina, would be today to say, with the coaching is the how we do it and the why, but there's 5 things that I would want to really just leave as my closing message to every single person that's listening today. If they can follow these 5 steps, I believe that they would be able to thrive and build and be, have that trampoline ready when they need it financially, but that will also sustain their lives in a business and personally. So the 5 steps that I would want to leave as a secret to all of them is, firstly, every month, whatever you earn, pay yourself first. And that means 10% of what you earn, you need to keep in an account or a unit trust that you can access quickly, where you can build your emergency fund up to 3 times your salary. That is when you've got a car accident, your geyser break, or something unforeseen happen and you need to access cash or capital quickly. The second step of the recipe would be replace your income. I can't stress this enough. Please replace your income for whether you become ill or you be retrenched. There's cover that you can take out, insurance for that. But start to replace your income for retirement as soon as you can. Whatever you plant in the ground now would be the fruits that you're going to be living from for another 30 years after retirement. So replace your income. You do not know what is waiting for you tomorrow. 3 would be in the recipe, cover your risks. As a business, make sure you cover your risks. There's a lot of people that can lose their jobs if you do not cover your risks properly, which has got just a roller coaster effect on the economy, but also on your family. So protect your risk would be thirdly. 4th is then whatever you've built up in capital and wealth, you have to preserve it. That's the first one. Preserve whatever you've built up. Make sure you don't become, spending it and living the life before you haven't start preserving and making sure that you've secured it. And then make sure you grow it actively. Be involved in whatever you have invested. Do not step away when you have invested your capital or your money. Stay involved. Be present in it. Know your figures. Number 5, I would call the mother syndrome. For me, so whatever is my phobias, I bring it to my clients and I sort their lives out with a file. But number 5 is something that is just, it's not negotiable. You have to review your portfolio, your goals, your dreams, and where you are on a regular basis. Please don't leave this for years and years to go. This is something you need to do at least once a year. Just review on where you are, what has happened, and what you need to take care of. Because then you can, with no doubt, arrive at your final destination, whatever that might be, and you can be successful. So, Marina, I've got a very ugly saying here in South Africa that I like to use in the lift with my lift pitch. And when people ask me what I do, I say I help people to die successfully and retire independently. And that's truly what will happen. You know, you will be able to rest at peace if you review often and you know your things are all in order. And you will be able to enter to that wonderful, relaxing time of your life to go and rest when you retire if you have reviewed often. And I think if I can just leave that 5 magic steps to, and everybody can just go and think about it and maybe try and start applying it, then I have achieved a lot through this interview tonight. So that is my closing statement for tonight.
Wow, we are so grateful, and I'm so humble you found the time to share with our listeners. And I can't say thank you enough for your energy, for your vision, for sharing your passion with us at Radio Works World. From both of us, until next time, I hope it's going to be a next time, is goodbye.
Goodbye.